Welcome back to another episode of Terrorvision with Justin.
I'm Alex.
And today is a very special day or a very special episode. Not only that we're going to be reviewing a movie, but today's episode is. Oops. Can we start that again? I was saving that for. Okay, disregard what we were saying. Can we start again? I'm not. I'm not. Uh, Fuck! I ruined the surprise. I was gonna do something funny. Um, Yada yada yada.
Oh fuck.
Today's episode is our 1 year of Terrorvision
One
podcast.
year anniversary.
Cute.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna do, and I pressed it way too early. My thumb slipped, and I was like, "Fuck!"
Oh man. That's
We're off to a rocky start for 1 year of Terrorvision. But yeah, so like I mentioned, it is 1 year of our podcast.
Mhm.
Um, it's been a pretty funny and long journey we've had for
It
this
has. It has.
podcast and very busy schedules and trying to maintain episodes and
Mhm.
post regularly and just keeping up with all of you. But no, it's been great so far, and we hope to continue doing this podcast and bringing out more content for you guys.
At
And
least another 2 years until that blood pact that we made with that demon is
oh
complete.
yeah, fuck, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Bummer.
But it's to get all sappy for a second. I'm glad to have Alex here as my co-host, and yeah, I'm excited for what to bring to you guys more for this podcast, and we're gonna dive into more movies and more reviews, and hopefully some guests on the show, and bringing some good shit to 2025. So.
Mhm. Yeah, we should be able to get another episode, maybe two, out before the new year.
Oh yeah, we will be coming hopefully with a
We'll have a holiday
Christmas
special.
special.
Yeah.
Yeah, another holiday special. Hopefully for Christmas. But yeah, we hope to bring, at least one more episode out until the New Year's. But I'm sure me and Alex have a lot planned for you guys for 2025. And like I said, all the other good stuff coming the way. But yeah, no, happy 1 year to our podcast.
Woo!
It's woo!
Yay!
I know.
Woo!
Applause. Wah! Um, Today's episode, since our first ever episode of Terrorvision was House of a Thousand Corpses that we reviewed. For this episode, it felt right for me and Alex to jump to the next sequel of this movie and do The Devil's Rejects. Woo! So,
Oh man.
Devil's Rejects is a 2005 horror action film. It's about an hour and 45 minutes. Director is Rob Zombie, and IMDb gave it a 6.7 out of 10, and Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 54%. This movie was fucking wild, as always.
No, yeah, I don't know. I feel like those scores are a little bit low. I think the last like act of the movie, like the final act was really strong. I actually really liked that and just
Dude,
like some of the
that
ideas it messed around with.
that final act was fucking badass.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know if Freebird was the right song to end the fucking movie
What you
on, but
mean? That was the best. Free bird.
yeah. Oh man, yeah, dude. No, but I mean, I liked it. There were definitely like I know you mentioned that you skimmed some parts because you've seen it already, and we were kind of pressed for time. But um,
There's just some scenes in the movie that were just too long and too irrelevant.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's ultimately why I feel like the low score is kind of justified. Is I feel like yeah, a lot of it just wasn't super relevant to what was going on. Like it was kind of like, oh, we're stopping to do a side quest real quick, guys, and like, which is cool, I
Well,
guess. Like I don't know, I feel like I like the main trio of characters, and I would kind of like them and like the sheriff as the antagonist in like a dark comedy TV show. I feel like that would be really fun.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I would say IMDb gave it a pretty good score. I would agree with IMDb. I would say Rotten Tomatoes could have, in my opinion, could have been a little bit higher than a 54%, but it's pretty good scoring for what it was.
So I take it
But
you don't like this one as. Oh, whoops! I should probably say this in front of my mic. I was grabbing water. I take it you don't like this movie as much as the first one.
I loved the first one. The first one's like, yeah, in my opinion, is better than The Devil's Rejects. Not saying The Devil's Rejects is a bad film, but House of a Thousand was a lot better than this one.
That was your first.
Oh yeah, 100%. But I mean, this movie gave the first one justice as a sequel.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I definitely enjoyed that this movie picked up kind of like in an interesting place still with the family, and they kind of just stuck to like how things were at the end of the first movie, with the exception of like kind of brushing the whole Dr. Satan thing under the rug, which,
Oh
you know,
yeah,
I mean, that's fine for the vibes of this movie. Like I feel like that worked, but like I thought about that every once in a while in the movie. I was like, you guys still have that Dr. Satan guy in your basement with that whole fucking like zombie murder dungeon thing. Like I didn't forget about that, y'all.
yeah. Can you just imagine just during the whole movie of Devil's Rejects that Dr. Satan is just still sitting down there, just kind of just
It just cuts back to him
reading a
every once in a
little,
while.
just reading a magazine,
He
just
just hears the
just like what
gunshots
the
above him.
fuck
He's
is
like,
going
"Oh
on?
shit, that's that doesn't sound good."
Turns up the stereo, just kind of
Yeah.
drowns it out.
Actually, at the end of the movie, when Tiny walks back into the flaming house, that was my like in canon justification for it. Was I was like, oh, he's gonna go back and get Dr. Satan.
He's gonna save him.
Yeah, he's gonna
I,
go
w-
save him.
I honestly was laughing at that scene because Otis was telling Tiny, he was like, "We're gonna come back for you," and Tiny kind of just gave that
Immediately
nod,
died.
and then just walks back into the house of fire that's
Yeah,
burning down, and I'm just like, oh, "Okay, bye, Tiny."
yeah. Oh man. Yeah,
Uh,
well, so I mean, let's quick get into just the general plot of this movie.
mm-hmm.
It picks up in the middle of a police raid. The police are like they've caught on to this family somehow, and they kind of skim over that, but they're like, yeah, these guys have murdered like hundreds of people. And like I texted you about it at the very beginning. Can you leave my foot alone, cat? Jesus. I texted you about
Kick
it at
it.
the very beginning where the opening intro was like, oh, like 75 missing people, and I was like, oh, so really it's a house of 75 corpses. But yeah, so the police come to raid the house, and there's a shootout, and it's all pretty well and cool. And I like that they show like all of the family members. What's his name? The dude with the black hair that was kind of stupid in
RJ.
the first one. RJ. He gets killed in the shootout, and then the mom stays back because she's like, ah, my boy, and the cops get her.
Father,
And
help!
father, help. But anyway, so there's this sheriff, Sheriff Wydell, who like just really wants to kill these people. And it's
Mhm.
shortly revealed after that that they killed his what, like brother or something.
Yeah, the sheriff from the first movie, George. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
the
yeah, they
ones
killed
that
the sheriff
killed.
from the first movie who is his brother.
Yeah.
And so he's like he super hates them for that, which like, you know, fair. Most of the
Fair
movie
point.
follows the trio of Captain Spaulding, what was her name? Baby, you know, Sherry Moon Zombie's character, and
Hmm.
Otis from the first movie. And I definitely feel like the first act kind of struggles a little bit. It's fine as like a horror movie, but it doesn't really have anything to do with the movie narratively.
Yeah.
Otis and Baby like escape the house, and they call Spaulding, and they're like, "Hey, dude, like the cops are fucking onto us. Like, meet us at the rendezvous point." And he's like, "Cool, like I'll meet you guys there." And I just Sid Haig, or what's his name, Sid Haig.
Yes, yes, Sid Haig.
God, dude, he was so fucking good in this movie. I
Dude,
liked him a
but any
lot more
movie
in this
he's in
movie.
is fucking phenomenal, especially both the Rob Zombie films. I loved him so much in both these movies.
So he immediately starts heading out to the rendezvous point, and along the way he like nabs a car from this mom and her kid. And that part where he threatens the kid, I thought was just so funny. That would be the most traumatizing thing of all
Don't
time
you
to see
like
this
clowns? Aren't we fucking funny?
this spooky ass clown just sucker punch my mother and then get in the car and look me straight in the face and be like, if you tell anyone, I'm gonna come back and murder you and your whole family. I was just like, Jesus.
Dude, I
It's like
stutter,
Jesus, dude.
bitch.
Yeah, no, he was, oh man, he's killer, dude. I loved him in this movie.
Oh yeah, most
So yeah,
definitely.
which also like I don't know why he had to nab the car from them because he drove into the parking lot in his own car and then stole their car.
Well, he ran out of gas,
Oh, okay, that's fair. You got me there.
and then he had official clown business, so he had
He
to,
did.
you know,
You're right. He did have
he
official
needed a
clown
car.
business. I forgot about the official clown business.
Yeah, we can't forget about that.
Meanwhile, Otis and Baby go to this motel and they capture and terrorize this like band of singers basically. Yeah, all that's kind of fucked up. Otis
Really
makes
fucked up.
the one dude's wife like him, and that wasn't fun.
Yeah, that whole act of them in the motel was very how do I put it? Explicit and very
Yeah,
not not uh
not fun.
not fun. Yeah, not fun at
Not
all.
very fun.
So if anybody does watch this movie and is there's certain triggers that catch your attention, or that you have, this whole sequence is very hard to watch.
No, but so Otis takes the two dudes out in the van, and he more or less like takes them out and kills them. And there's a part where they almost break free, and like the dude hits Otis over the head while he's distracted, and they almost get him. And like that's one of the things that I like about this movie is that even though Otis and Baby and Spalding are the protagonists, anytime anyone is beating the shit out of them, you're rooting against them because you know they're evil and they kind of suck.
Yeah.
So like when the dude like hit him over the head, I was like, yeah, fucking get him, like fucking kick his ass.
That's why this movie in particular said, like I said, is like a decent sequel, and that I liked it is because like the roles are flipped, and
Yeah,
like you said, we're just kind of rooting for the killers in this whole movie. Like they're the ones that are the heroes of this film in
exactly,
a weird
exactly.
sense.
And I'll touch on that when I get to the third act, but that was the main thing that I really liked about the third act was I liked that whole dynamic of like the sheriff being the slasher killer and the slasher killers being the victims and the like protagonists. So it's
Yeah.
like cuz it's like when you're watching that like third act, like it's kind of it tugs on your heartstrings a little bit. You're like, "Oh no, like they care for each other, like I don't want to watch them get like tortured, but at the end of the day, it's like, yes, I do. Like they kind of super deserve it. And
These
like,
sick fucks are actually good people.
yeah. But so anyways, yeah, so he takes them out and he kills them, and then Baby stays with the two chicks, and they also almost get the upper hand on her. And I was really excited, and I was like, oh my god, like she fucking got her. I was like, shoot her, like fucking shoot her, because the one chick gets the gun and points it at her, and then it's like unloaded, and Baby's like, oh, it's all like a mind game or something, and I was like, oh fuck, like that sucks, that super sucks.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that she throws that knife like a fucking ninja star.
That was bullshit. That was such bullshit. I would be so mad if that was how I died. Like, you know how when you're playing a video game and some shit just happens and you're like, that is not what fucking happened. That is bullshit. Like, that's how I felt watching that scene. So I was like, that's not how that went down, but okay.
I love the scene where they all kind of meet together again after like
Yeah.
that whole shenanigans in the motel, and they're planning what to do next. And Otis pretty much carved the one chick's husband's face off
It makes her
and is
wear it.
wearing
Yeah.
it makes her wear it as a mask, and like her running out of the motel freaking out, and just that whole
Chasing
scene
the
of her.
shopkeeper, like, or not that the cleaning lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck, that was
Just
funny. That
that
was a
whole
good
sequence
reversal.
was a really cool sequence
Yeah,
of just
I
her
agree.
running out. Gave me very Texas Chainsaw vibes.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So
Texas
I
Chainsaw.
really admired that scene. I was like, "Ooh, this is actually really cool."
I
Until
was
the
thinking
fact
that
that she,
watching it was I was like, this is a very like comically dark like scene. You know what I mean?
right,
And I really liked that reversal of like the monster really being a victim and just being like, for the love of fuck, help me. And like the cleaning lady
yeah.
being like, you're wearing someone's face. No, fuck that.
Well, when I was watching this for the first time, I was like, "Oh, we actually got a survivor. Keep running, go, go, go!" And like she's screaming and calling for help, and then until the matter of fact that she gets run over by a fucking Mack truck.
I don't, yeah, okay. I don't care what is chasing me or what has happened to me. It doesn't matter. I am not running barefoot through a dry, like, West desert like that. Do you know how many, like, little prickly shit and, like, little sticks and twigs and like, no, like, that is far more torture than, like, that was the worst part of this movie, I think, for me,
I
was just
mean, I
watching her, like, run barefoot through, like, the desert brush and, like, yeah, nope, that
I
was the
mean,
worst.
I mean, if it came down to me in that situation, I wouldn't care about that. I'm just trying to run away as quick as I can away from all that fucking horrific shit.
I get it, but
But I
like
see where you're coming from.
if the cleaning lady was there, like it's like they're gone. Like at that point, like they've left. There, I get you're scared and stuff, but like I don't know. I would probably hit that and be like, oh shit, like nope, I need to back up and find somebody here, like because I can't continue barefoot. Like hitting a little video game barrier. Like I've got to find shoes to continue.
That's the first thing you're worried about after
Yeah, man.
being fucking terrorized and assaulted by three psychopaths, and the first thing that you're trying to worry about
Wearing
running
Reina's
out for your
face.
life is
Yeah.
finding a pair of shoes.
Yeah, dude. I'm already fucked up. I don't need to get any more.
Oh man.
Man. But
To
no,
bring
I
it
would
back a
say
little bit, I was gonna say that whole scene with Otis and the two other guys. I also really admired the scene where he's hovering over the dad or the older guy's body, and he kind of quotes from like the first one where he like pulls his hair to the side and he's like, "I
I'm
am
the
the devil,
devil.
and I do the,
Yeah.
and I do the devil's work." And I was all like, "Yes." I'm like, "Here we go."
Yeah, I heard that and I was just like, okay, yeah, like Edgelord McGee over here.
Edge Lord McGee.
But no, I did
Uh,
think I did like how like dramatically dark that scene was where he was like, I want you to pray to your god. He was
I
like,
want to be struck down by
I want to
lightning.
be struck down. Yeah. I was like, okay, you know what? That's aura right there. You can't say he doesn't have aura for that.
Dude, Bill Moseley is a phenomenal actor too. Like I really
he
love his work
yeah,
in both
he
the
also killed
movies.
it. The main trio, I would say, like they really like the first movie like was very good and they played their characters very well, but I like how in here they feel a little more comfortable like being their characters. It just feels
Oh
their
yeah,
like whole dynamic feels a little more natural and
yeah.
kind of fleshed out, which I really appreciated. And I was going to say when the three of them like meet up at the hotel, I would say that is definitely where the movie picks up because the chemistry between the three of them is just so much fun to watch on screen. Like the
Oh
part where they're
yeah.
leaving the motel and she's like they want to get ice cream. That had me cracking up. That was so funny.
Tutti fucking fruity.
Tutti fucking fruity. And he's like, there is no way we are stopping to get ice cream. Just cuts to them with ice cream. And
I
she's
just
like,
love
try it, try it.
when Otis and Baby are just arguing with each other back and forth. It's just
Yeah.
the funniest shit with
I loved
their
his
little
line
duo.
where Spalding's was he was like, "Oh, well, come on, it'll take 2 seconds." He was like, "It ain't gonna kill you." And Otis was like, "I've calculated the amount of time to put my life at risk. It is 2 seconds."
He's a
Oh
very
man,
planned man.
he's got it thought out, man. You can't say he doesn't. No, so they go to rendezvous with Captain Spaulding's pimp brother, I guess.
Pimp
This guy
brother.
named Charlie. Um, and yeah, they have. I liked the scene where they pull up to his place, and he shows up and he points a shotgun at them, and he's like, "Oh, you motherfuckers! Like, think you're gonna like show up at my place? Blah blah blah." And Spalding is like, "Oh, well, like you're just a chicken shit." Like he goes on for a minute. I wish I had the clip on me, or I wish I wrote down what he said. But he goes on like for a minute, just like you chicken shit, like pussy clown fart motherfucker. And he goes to shoot him, but the shotgun's a water gun, and that had me cracking up. I was like, ah, and like they all kind of like break out laughing and like hugging, and they're all good friends and friendly. And I like the subversion, you know, of like them all being friends and like friendly with each other, but being like serial killers. I don't know, like it's maybe Terrifier 3 desensitized me too much, but
Yeah.
I liked that dynamic of that. I also smoked a bowl before this, so but yeah, no, I liked that subversion, that kind of like it's friends but also Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
That was just a fun combination for me.
Yeah, no, I would say following up after that sequence comes to my favorite and funniest scene of the movie where Charlie and the other dude go to that one redneck like pit stop for the chickens.
Yeah.
That shit always
He's
has me
like, "Oh, I
cracking up.
got these chickens and these chickens," and he's like, "Oh, give me two of them," and he's like, "You you're
Y'all
not gonna
planning to fuck
fuck the
them?
chicken." No, I'm not gonna fuck the chicken. He's like,
He's like, would you? And he's all like,
he's
well, I've had thoughts of
maybe.
it. You know, if you cut that chicken's head off,
It gets
you
really
stick your
dark.
yeah. That whole sequence is just too funny. I was laughing more of just Charlie's reaction to it than
Yeah, yeah,
anything.
his
Where
reaction
he's
was
like,
really
"So
funny
you
too.
want me to cut a fucking chicken's head off, put my dick in it,
Fuck
fuck
it.
it, and then go ah?"
And they go, "Ah!"
Oh
Oh
man.
man. Yeah, no, that was good too. I liked that.
Yeah.
That scene was really fucking funny. You're right.
So
Um,
while Charlie and his buddy were on the way of picking up chickens, they get stopped by the sheriff that's been hunting down baby Captain and Otis and is pretty much telling them, I know who you're hiding. I know you know them. So if you don't have them ready for me by this certain time, I'm going to kill you and all of them, like no matter what.
yeah, he was
So
like,
they,
if they're not in the house by midnight, like I'm gonna fucking kill you.
yeah.
And it's like that's not very sheriffly. And I'm not one to be on the side of cops, but you know,
I
he's
think
a
the
point.
sheriff doesn't really give a fuck anymore. And
No,
then
yeah,
also the
there's
fact that the sheriff just blatantly fucking kills Mother Firefly in the cell too. Like
yeah,
he just
there's
really doesn't give a shit anymore.
there's kind of like a small B plot of the sheriff just kind of like losing his mind. Like he has a little dream sequence with his brother who got killed from the first movie, and his brother's like, kill them all." And then yeah, like he goes into the prison cell where they're keeping what's her name, mother, whatever,
Yeah, Mother
they're,
Firefly.
Mother Firefly. They're keeping her, and he fucking stabs her.
I'm like, shouldn't this man be arrested? But he just committed murder.
It was I don't. This is gonna sound weird, but I liked that scene. How it went from like sexual to murder.
hmm
This sounds weird, but I liked, but because the way it was framed, you didn't see what he was doing. You could just see that he was doing something that hurt her. So like for just that kind of imagination of like what the fuck is going on, just kind of made that scene a little more like scary and frightening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it kind of zooms out and you see that he's got like a knife in her, and like that was like, oh shit, like he fucking stabbed her. But I just liked that the way that that scene was shot and kind of paced. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah, no, I will agree with that because it's just this very close shot of them both being very sexual towards each other,
Very
and like you
horny.
said, um, she starts having like this just this expression of pain, and you
Mhm.
can tell that she's hurting, and you don't even see what the fuck is going on. Just like is he actually doing it, or like what's going on? And yeah, now it comes to the fact that he's just fucking killing her, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
And that's another point I think where the movie picks up is when the sheriff delves like fully into like not serial killer, I guess, but just like killer
Just
territory.
psychopath.
Yeah, because the whole movie kind of flips and subverts where the main three, Spalding, Baby, and Otis, become like the surviving victims in a slasher movie, and the sheriff is the slasher. And I really liked all of that. I thought that was super because at this point in the movie, in the movie, but also in having watched the first movie, right? You're kind of invested in these characters, even though you don't really like them. You're still kind of, from the way that the movie is shot and kind of writes them and portrays them in this last act, it's very much like Survivor vibes. So that all plays on you to kind of subconsciously want them to survive. And so that's just a really weird feeling to have, is to be like, yeah, like I kind of want to see them get away because I've kind of grown attached to them, but I also still really hate them and they definitely deserve this, you know?
Oh yeah.
And I really liked that. That was a really unique feeling to have while watching it. And yeah, so I want to give it a lot more credit. I wish the whole movie was like that. Like I wish the whole movie was the sheriff is the killer and they're like the survivors, you know?
Yeah.
Also, Danny Trejo was in this movie for a minute.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. We always love to see him.
Yeah, him and another guy, these like bikers are pretty much like gun for hire for
Hmm.
the sheriff to hunt down, the three.
Also,
Um
I'm sorry. I gotta just because I looked this up during the movie, because I was like, oh yeah, like he was Machete, right? Like, and I had to look up something up about Machete, and then I saw a thing that was like, oh yeah, like Machete from Spy Kids, and I was like, what? And I clicked on it, and it was like, oh yeah, like Machete from the movie Machete and Machete Kills, the bloody
yeah.
movies, is the same fucking character from Spy Kids. He's their fucking uncle, and he appears in all three movies, and he's also called Machete. They call him Uncle Machete, and I was like, what the fuck?
Machete.
Yeah. And so like they've said that like, oh no, like the continuity is different, but they also joke about it all the time that like, oh yeah, no, he's the same guy, and like when he's not in the action movies, he's like, watching the kids. And I was
Is
like, what the
Danny
fuck?
Trejo in the multiverse
The Danny Travers.
now? Danny Travers, I love that.
Oh
That's
man.
funny. But yeah, so with Danny Trejo's character, yeah, he's a gun for hire, and the other guy for the sheriff to hunt down the three, and they end up going to Charlie's big old sex mansion,
Mm-hmm.
and pretty much killing like the sex workers there and capturing Otis, Captain, and Baby, and
Yeah, they kind of beat the shit out of everyone, and they capture Spalding, Otis, and Baby for the sheriff, and then they just kind of dip. That's their role in the movie. Like they,
yeah,
I mean,
like we did our
mission
part, like
accomplished.
Toodles.
Also, I want to go back real quick because there's a part where when Danny Trejo is sneaking into the like sex mansion, and he comes up behind one of the sex workers and kills her, and she was alone. That was completely unnecessary. Like he knew that the pimp was working with the sheriff. Like they were allies at that point. So like, what the fuck? I
I
like
don't know.
I saw him do that, and I was like, why? What was the point, dude? Like,
Yeah,
she was on your
I
side.
was like Charlie's. I was like, how? I was just like Charlie not pissed about this, but I
That's what I
mean
was thinking
he.
too. I was like, I would be mad as hell. He literally said that was his best chick earlier.
Well,
I would be
maybe.
hella mad.
I mean, he probably is mad since he came back in the last act after
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. He didn't fully side with the sheriff. But so, anyways, with them captured by the sheriff, he goes on like a little torture spree with them, which again, like how I was mentioning, you feel very like mixed about because it's like like I don't like seeing people tortured. Like that's objectively bad, but at the same time, these people suck. And the sheriff is making totally valid points. He's like, look at this person. Like, did you kill them? And they're like, oh yeah, we killed them. We did all this like super fucked up shit to them. He's like, well, okay. And then he like hammers a nail through his hand, and you're like, I don't like seeing that, but
Nail getting fucking
fair
pictures
enough.
to their chest.
Yeah. Yeah, he's stapling shit to their chest. So yeah, like very mixed feelings about that. For some reason, the sheriff lets Baby go and tells her to run. I guess because he wants to chase her, which like is kind of plays on the last girl slasher trope.
Well, I kind of like that sequence too, where he's like hunting down Baby, because it kind of just jumps back from the first movie when they're hunting down that one girl in the donkey suit when she's running
Yeah,
through
yeah, yeah.
like the cemetery, and Baby's hunting her down. So it's kind of like,
Is a
you
good
know,
callback. And no, I
yeah,
definitely liked that scene. I like, and again, I like just the subversion of it, of the last girl being the serial killer and the slasher being the sheriff.
yeah.
I think that that's such a fun idea to me. I want a whole movie about that concept. But anyways, during that he sets the house on fire with Otis and Spaulding still inside, and he finally catches up to Baby and is like strangling her to death. And then Tiny shows up out of nowhere because he stayed. They were at the barn, the family barn. So Tiny was just like around because he never got caught.
I like how Tiny's just in the movie for like what, like a total of 30 seconds. Like he's just
Yeah, he
in
is
the
like
first, he's in the beginning of the movie just dragging the body, and then
he
nobody
hears
knows
the
where the fuck
gunshots and
he's
he's like, "Oh
at.
shit, I gotta get the fuck out of here."
And then he just comes the fuck out of nowhere just to help Baby. Just like, where have you been this whole movie?
Yeah, and then yeah, so he goes in and rescues Spaulding and Otis, which like, okay, like little plot armory because he set the whole fucking house on fire, but whatever, fine.
He's immune to fire.
And he brings them out, and they essentially are gonna like drive off and like run away now with the sheriff dead and stuff. And Tiny decides to stay behind again. I assume to take care of Dr. Satan because he's still somewhere.
He's like, I'm gonna go save the rest.
Yeah, but Otis is like, he's like, we'll come back for you. And like they drive off, and then Tiny just walks into the burning house.
I don't know why I find that scene so funny. It's just like, we're coming back for you, and he's like, okay, walks through the fire and flames.
Are there gonna be rabbits, Lenny? Like, fucking,
We're
shit.
Tim the rabbits.
Yeah, for real. And then they drive off to Freebird, and when Freebird starts picking up, there's like cops in the road, and they have a shootout to Freebird, and they get shot and allegedly die, and that's the movie.
And this bird will never change. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, it's a good song.
I would say that song was pretty fitting for the end of the movie, and just the highs, like the speed pursuit of them charging towards the rest of the cops, just gun blazing,
Just getting
just
completely
like, I don't know.
obliterated. Like not even taking a few down with them. They just get turned into Swiss cheese, man.
That's why I was very like, I kind of tilted my head about them coming out with another film after that.
I was gonna
'Cause
say, isn't
like,
there a third?
I was like, how are they still fucking alive? I'm like, I thought they died. And then, maybe some other episode will cover Three from Hell, but that's the threequel is fucking Three from Hell, and supposedly Spaulding, Otis, and Baby, for some fucking odd reason, survived all those gunshot wounds.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, no, I was just with how played out that final scene was of them charging to Freebird, gun blazing, and them getting literally fucking obliterated by all these guns and bullets and wounds and shit, and to make it seem like, that's the end of those three, like they fucking died. No, for somehow they fucking recovered. Fucking Jesus took the wheel and was like, y'all gonna make another movie. And I'm just like,
I'm not
oh
done
my
with
lord.
you.
I know, I'm not done with you yet. But yeah,
Oh.
no, that is pretty much the Devil's Rejects. And like I said, I think this movie does justice for a sequel.
Oh, for
That, like I
sure.
said, there are scenes that I skipped through because I've watched this movie already a couple times, and there was scenes that just kind of dragged for too long and that were just not needed. And otherwise, this movie's really cool. Um, the ratings, I would say, is pretty decently accurate for what this movie is, but it's a good Rob Zombie movie. I did like it a lot.
Yeah, I agree. It's a fun B movie just to watch. It's nothing profound. There's no like meaning or anything. I don't. Well, I mean, you can find meaning in anything, but I don't think there's any explicit life message to be found here.
Right.
So
Family.
it's
We
just
family.
yeah. It's just a fun slasher movie. I feel like ultimately you could cut out most of the first act with them and the band in the hotel room and like killing them and stuff.
I
But
felt like that whole sequence was like the one thing that dragged the most.
it definitely
Um,
does drag a little bit. But I will say the one thing that it does do is it really does just remind you that like these three are evil. Like they're like I know that it's fun to watch them on screen and like they're really funny like when they want ice cream and like they're acting like people, but like they are like super evil. Like they're definitely the villains of the story. And so it definitely just reminds you of that, which makes the ending when the sheriff is the antagonist, like that's what kind of drives home that bitter feeling is you're like, "Oh shit, like I just saw them do all this awful shit like half an hour ago, so I do want to see them get got, you
get
know?"
got.
So I think it helps strengthen that, but yeah, no, you're right. It does drag way too much, and I really would have preferred if the movie just kind of focused on that reversal of the victims being the serial killers and the killer being the
Yeah.
sheriff.
One thing I do want to point about this movie that I also really like, going back to Freebird, the soundtrack for this movie was really good. I did like the songs that Rob Zombie
Yeah.
chose for some of the acts. Shout out to my friend Lex because me and her have talked about this movie, and she also loves the soundtrack of this film. And I have a couple songs
Yeah.
from this soundtrack on my Spotify playlist that I really like.
I love the part when Otis is taking the two guys out to like kill them and they're driving and
They're playing,
Fooled Around and Fell
yes,
in Love was
Elvin
playing
Bishop.
and he was like, "Do you like this song?" And he's like, "What?" He's like, "Do you like this song?"
Oh man,
I don't know. I think that was
yeah,
funny.
no,
Oh, and then no, the other scene that had me absolutely cracking up was when the sheriff was they were tracking down the killers because they found out that all of their like names were from this like TV show or something. And so they were talking to this like movie critic
yeah.
guy. And what did he say? He said something about Elvis. And
What the fuck did you say about
flips
Elvis
the
Presley?
fuck out. He's like, "What did you just say about Elvis
Don't you
Presley?"
talk shit about the king?
He was like, "Don't you talk shit about the king, you little Hollywood pansy." And he was like, "But Elvis was in Hollywood."
Fuck Groucho.
Oh my god, that had me cracking
Yeah,
up. That
there's
was so
there's
good.
definitely a lot of funny bits in this movie with
I love how this movie really embraces the cheesiness. There's so many lines and scenes in this movie that are just so corny and cheesy, and you can tell the actors know, but it's so funny.
yeah,
Yeah, this movie was a lot of
yeah,
fun to watch. Ultimately,
from
I think
from Spalding stealing a car from an innocent little family,
Charlie was pretty
and
funny.
then the Elvis argument scene, and then
Hmm.
the whole chicken fucking.
Chicken fucking
Yeah,
argument.
there is definitely a lot of cheesy and funny
Yeah,
comedy in this film too. So it was a good mixture of
yeah.
a good horror and comedy. So
It definitely was. Yeah, I enjoyed this movie. That's why I want to give it more. Like, I know objectively, it, and I know art is subjective, but I know, like, generally objectively, this movie falls around the 6, out of 10 mark. But I want to give it more because I definitely enjoyed it more than 6 out of 10. You know what I mean? Like, I had fun watching it, which I feel like is what matters. So in that sense, I definitely want to give it closer to like an 8 out of 10, even though I know it's more of a 6, out of
With
10
the
movie.
movie,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? You
with the
follow
movie
me?
dragging in some scenes, like I said, I would definitely give it more of a six.
Yeah.
But if it didn't drag and they followed more of the plot and still kept like the little side comedy bits, definitely
Yeah.
a strong seven for me.
No, like I wouldn't argue with anyone if they said they didn't like this movie or this was a bad movie. Like I wouldn't argue with them
Yeah,
and be like, "Oh, you're wrong. Like this is a great movie or anything." Like I'd be like, "Yeah, like there's parts that drag. It's got its flaws. Like it's not the greatest movie of all time, but like I had fun watching it."
yeah,
You can't say for a lot of movies. So I appreciated that. That was a lot of
heck yeah,
fun.
man. No, definitely a good movie to review for our little 1 year special. So
Yeah.
to come back on more Rob Zombie. I want to take the time and just say thank you to all of our friends and family and anybody who is new or started watching our podcast. Me and Alex just want to say thank you for sticking around for a
Oh,
year
absolutely.
and still continuing to listen to our shenanigans and enjoying just our reviews and endless laughter. We hope to bring more content and some cool movie reviews and other fun stuff in 2025. And hopefully, me and Alex will also bring one last episode to kick off to the new year with a Christmas special.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it's always a pleasure to have you as a co-host. And
Thanks, man. You too.
this podcast is fucking awesome, man. And
Yeah, no, I enjoy doing this. I wouldn't be able to do it without an audience. So definitely appreciate you guys being
heck
here.
yeah. One person I also do want to shout out to since I haven't in a minute, since it is the 1 year mark. Shout out to my buddy Diego Gonzalez for doing our
For sure, for
our
sure.
intro and outro for this podcast. It's still, amazing, and we thank you. And yeah, guys, this is Devil's Rejects and our 1 year special. And we hope to see you guys more around in the new year. And we also hope that you guys had a good Halloween too, as well. Enjoy the rest of the holidays, and hopefully, we'll see you before Christmas and the new year. But yeah, follow us for more updates about our podcast. Visit Facebook and Instagram, at Terrorvision with Justin and Alex and Terrorvision Podcasts. If you want to listen to more episodes, we're on Spotify and YouTube. Terrorvision with Justin and Alex, yada yada.
Yada
Yada
yada.
yada.
Rada rada
Rada
rada.
rada rada rada. Cheers to 1 year of this podcast, and we hope to bring you more
Woo! Yippee!
yeah! We hope to bring more content in the future. So stay tuned.
We'll see you guys around the
Yes,
holidays.
sir. And as always, I'm Justin,
And I'm Alex.
and this is Terrorvision with Justin and Alex.
Woo! Yay!
Yeah!